Okay, today we're going to do some dividing of our trilliums. And we do that because we want more of them. And in this case, we have a really nice clone. This is one we've selected from seed, and that's particularly nice, and we want to have more of those to be able to share. So the first thing we want to do, now ideally, you can divide them when you can actually see growth, much easier then. But you can do them pretty much anytime the ground isn't frozen. But now we have to go in and actually find the trillium. So let's begin. We're going to go in and clear away some soil. That's because we just didn't get it done earlier when we wanted to. And let's find the trillium without hopefully damaging it. Okay. And what we're looking for, we should find some growth buds right below the ground surface, and that's what we're trying to locate. Yep, I'm starting to see some. All right, see, there's one. We already chopped the tip off that one. That was right there. All right, so now we know where it is. Now we're going to come in with our shovel and dig. All right, we're starting to find it there, so we're right on the edge. Let's go a little further back here. Finding pieces of it, just not finding the whole thing yet. I think I got over far enough to get the whole clump. All right, there's what we're looking for, a little better. Now, you got two types of trilliums. You got the trilliums that have branching rhizomes, which means they branch pretty much on their own. And then you have some that never branch, and they would look more like this. So the branching ones, as you see, are going to sort of fall apart as you come in. Depends on each species is a little bit different. And we cut a rhizome there. So let's see, there should be some more in here as we get in and start looking around. And each little piece, these are pieces of the rhizome. So each one of these is going to give us a new plant. So I'm going to go just a little bit more because I think there's more back here. I think I'm right on the edge of the big clump. I'll get some little smaller tool and come in around this. All right, and you see, I keep finding sort of like a treasure hunt when you're digging for these. Oh yeah, there's a lot more right in there. All right, let's go back to Mr. Shovel. Oh, so we're getting into some roots. So each one of these that we've got is going to give us a new plant. And you see this particular one, this is Trillium ludovicianum. This is one from down in Louisiana. It just sort of falls apart. It's really easy to divide. So we're looking for all those little pieces, and each piece It's going to give us a whole new clump. And there's a lot of that. So this was beforehand just one clump. And I think we're probably going to have a little more even back here. So we can continue to see if we can get the back end of the clump there. I think we may be close there. All right, that's another little piece. Trilliums are very easy to grow, they're very easy to divide, very easy to reset. Despite the myth, a lot of the myth that trilliums are hard to grow and hard to propagate comes from the fact that most trilliums are dug out of the wild and they're sold in box stores in little packets of plastic, and the majority of those are dead when you buy them. But if you actually buy a living trillium that was grown from seed, which is the way we grow ours, except when we do them from divisions, you're going to get a very easy to grow plant. Now, if you have a trillium that does not divide, this is what you would have. So a lot of people grow Trillium luteum, Trillium grandiform. Those are the most often ones that are stole from the wild. This is what you would get. And unlike our ludovicianum, this one really rarely offsets. So what we have to do, we can come in and do what we call a rhizome cut. So this is your rhizome. A rhizome is an underground stem, and this is full of buds. So if I want a new one, I come in and do this and cut something about 1 inch long and then replant this. And what will happen next year, it will form little eyes all along here. And then by resetting it, not next year, because next year is forming its eyes, the year after, you will come up with dozens of small plants off that one piece. And then you can plant the one with the growing point back. Because what will happen is the trillium, if you leave that in, eventually what happens, this old part just dies off. It just, as we call it, sloughs off over the years. So you're not losing anything by doing this. You're taking some of the energy off, so it won't be quite as tall the next year, but the next year it just grows more in the front and it will get the same size again. So now you've gone from having one clump, so we're going to take all these little ones and put them back. And this is another piece that came apart. We lost the eye on that when we were digging. See, I cut the eye right off. That's a blind shoot. Okay, now even a blind shoot, now so it's the same principle here. That will reform new eyes on the back, and then not next year, but the year after. So 2 years from doing that, you have a new growth. So we'll replant as many as we want in here. See, there's a large one that could be cut. You could take and cut that off, replant both pieces, and then you've got double what you had when you started. So we've got literally several dozen plants right here. And we're going to put those right back in the spot. But if you want to share these with other people, you can certainly, it's a great time to do that. And again, we can do this when it's in full growth. I have no problem dividing these when they're actually fully ready to grow. And we want to put them about a couple inches below the ground. So the growing tip is just below the surface of the soil. And you see, these have already started to grow. Most of the ones that we grow are winter growers. This one will begin growing above ground in mid-February, so usually around Valentine's Day. Whereas up north, north of where we are in coastal North Carolina, they wouldn't begin growing until April, May, and sometimes into June if you're up in Minnesota. But all these small pieces will go back. Now, when we are ready to offer these through the nursery, and we may take a few of these, this is what we would pot in a container so that we'll be able to sell those. And trilliums don't love being in containers. If you're going to grow a trillium in a container, you want a large container, because small containers, they're just not very happy in. So we may pick out a few, since we've got a lot, we can share. This is a really special clone that we've got that is just really quite nice. It multiplies better than any other one we've seen. So let's actually pick a few that we can share. We won't have a lot, this clump, for example, we can look at the tag. This is a 20-year-old clump. So this started out as a single division. So for us, putting on our nursery hat, you don't make any money on trilliums because you've grown that for 20 years. And if we pull out some that we want to be able to share, some that are big enough, these are a flowering size. Let's just say here, we're going to pull out enough here. I'll pull that one out. That'll be a nice one for somebody. That'll be a nice one. The ones that are too small, we just will replant. That one would be good. And I'm going to go ahead and take the bottom off that because that's not going to do anybody good. And that'll regrow. And let's see if we want to pull out, see if I've got any more that are big enough. That one could go. Be a good one for somebody. I think that's going to be all the ones that we would consider large enough. This one we can go ahead and take a cut off, and that one would be good enough to go. That's going to give, what we like to do is the things we offer, we prefer for them to all be flowering size. And so we have to pick through. So this is what we would have to do anytime we dig one to be able to offer. And this is the, obviously that's going to be fine. So we're going to put those all back in the ground, make sure we hadn't missed any. There's another one big enough to offer. Okay, let's see, there's another one. No point in leaving any above the ground. There we go. That one's good. That doesn't have an eye. So we don't want to offer something to somebody that doesn't have an eye because they're going to get it and they're going to grow it and they're going to say, oh, well, there's nothing growing up. In actuality, the plant is fine. It's just they have to wait an extra year, and people don't like waiting an extra year. Can't say I blame them for that. Okay, so I think we have all the ones ready to go back, and this will give us then some to be able to share in the nursery. This is one called Lean and Green. Trillium ludovicianum is it's got beautiful patterned leaves and really thin and really tall petals. So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whoops, there's a small one, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we've got, our flats fit 18, so we'll have enough room for one flat. So that'll be 20 years, we've got 18 plants that we can sell. So it's definitely not a way to, if you're doing a nursery, to try and make money. So now we're going to cover all this back over. And again, I mentioned we want to try to get it 1 to 2 inches thick. Get it right below the, just cover the grounds. Okay. And then once you get them covered, we are ready to water those in, and those will be coming back for the next year. So this will give them a nice rest. And what we'll get this coming year is a patch obviously smaller than what we had, but 2 years from now, where we cut all those, we'll have double or triple the size because all of those will produce in 8 to 10 buds each. So cutting that rhizome is really the key to multiplying that. We don't find the need to treat them with anything special after we cut. We don't find the need to dry them out. Just get them back in, get them planted, and get them watered in. And be sure to mark your spot. We have our tags here so you can find them when you're out digging and they're dormant. Okay, so now we're just left to water them in. You don't want to let your trilliums dry out. So the ones we dug up to pot, we're going to keep them watered as well because once you dig something, the roots die very quickly. Within a matter of minutes, if you got a warm day, those root hairs are going to start dying. Sometimes some will regenerate, but boy, you really damage something. So even a matter of minutes that you don't get water on the plant that you just bare rooted makes a big difference in survivability.